Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. With OpTic Texas bringing iLLeY back into the starting lineup, Scump has revealed a detail which might well indicate things haven't been going quite as swimmingly as was initially thought. Only one set of scrims per day, iLLeY currently still in Canada. Will everything be well by the time we get to the Major 4 qualifiers? Very much enjoying your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Also thank you for 79,000 subscribers. Didn't think you guys earlier today. Thought now was the perfect time to do so. 80k, that'll be an awesome milestone. If everyone listening to this right now that well is not subscribed but could be, then we'd probably get to like 85k or beyond. Just love to see it. Let's just crack on straight away. Thought this is rather incredible. Who's your rookie leader for the season? Honestly, at the start of the season, I thought we had a relatively, we had a decent rookie class this year. Nothing crazy, but a decent one. As time has progressed, I think it just seems to get weaker and weaker. In fairness, though, Prid and Sib, they are leading the line right now. There's no doubt. They've been phenomenal so far this season. And look at the accuracy numbers. This, honestly, to me, was what I thought was most interesting about this graphic from the CDL here yesterday. Accuracy percentages. So this is the percentage of shots that are hit in this game, which is, well, for Pred, 33%. I think it makes sense that SMGs are probably going to be slightly highly weighted on this list just because, I mean, look, the gun shoots a bit slower than the auto. They're in more close quarter combat, so they're likely probably to hit more shots up close than maybe an auto player or an AR player is from range. But I mean, still, the numbers in the 30%. That was not something that was the case back in the day. These are very high accuracy numbers. Now, is this because the players have got better, or is it because the games have got easier? I would imagine it's going to be the latter. Round 11 stats as a result of this comes out with these numbers. This is what he had on offer for the World War II seasons. This is 2018. These were the numbers at the time. Dashy had the highest accuracy in the game at the time at a 27%. Everyone else 26, 25. Mainly AR players on here, but I mean, we had Zuma, we had Scump on the list, 25%, 26% accuracy. This is pretty much what was expected at the time. I remember like back in the day, Black Ops 3 or so, like the pros would do like 22, 23% accuracy. Maybe like I'd look at my stats, I'd be on like 20, 21% accuracy or something. Of course, it does depend to a degree on how much pre-firing is being done, right? Like, of course, it depends if someone's just going to shoot through a wall. If you're just going to, go for some shots through the wall, that's going to cost your accuracy stats. But in theory, if every player does about the same amount of that, you should get kind of an average number to kind of suggest how good the average class of the players were in that particular title. But nowadays, the accuracy numbers are just way higher than they used to be. And of course, with the time to kill being very fast, just shows how easy I think the Call of Duties are nowadays, because these numbers are pretty ridiculous. Now, this I thought was also rather funny because Round 11 Stats got asked by TacticalRab Academy, look up who had the worst accuracy statistics in that game. Now, of course, the highest being 27%, the lowest being these numbers. We had Goonjar at 20%, Sukri at 20%, Cinder at 19%, so people were saying, okay, yeah, about time he became a coach of Llama God, and Huke as well, technically had the worst. Of course, massive variations here depending on how many matches these guys actually played, but I mean, look, you wouldn't see numbers like this today, because in today's game, these are the numbers, right? The highest percentage accuracy is Prestinni, with, I mean, look, he only played one series up against OpTic, but he has an accuracy of 37%, and Vivid, despite playing the entire season, also has pretty much a 37% accuracy. This is kind of incredible, right? Like, the average here between all these, like, top 15 players is 31-ish%. Vivid's up here at a 37, which is honestly outrageous. Like, I'm guessing, like, he doesn't go for too many wall bangs, right? And it, well, gets right up in your face and just takes shots when he knows he can hit them. So, definitely some different playstyles between the players, but we can see Pred, Dashy, Afro, Kismet, these guys up here, but I just think the numbers are the most interesting thing to me. The fact that these numbers are now in the 30%. That's not something that was the case, many times before in Call of Duty history. I feel like, back in the day, 25% accuracy was something to be raved about. So I can only assume that the aim assist and the way the game has kind of developed over the last few years has really made things so much easier for the pros. And yes, the best pros, the best players, the best teams still rise to the top, but it's not quite the kind of challenging mechanical Call of Duty that maybe it used to be back in the day. So definitely intrigued your perspective on that one, right? And even as Vivid says, he drops there's a salute emoji saying, okay, get me back in the league. Rumour has it, he's going to be back on the Boston Breach here. Before the season began, he was maybe meant to team with those guys over at the Washington team, and seemingly that's going to happen now after Florida, for some reason, have decided to kind of deny that situation. I'm sure Florida were looking at the KD numbers a little bit. Maybe they should have been looking at the accuracy numbers. Who knows how realistic these numbers really are in terms of indicating who's actually a great player. Now, speaking of more interesting statistics, this is the Cellium Index, as Breaking Point described it as. This is the percentage of series where a player finishes with a positive KD, I guess a 1.00 or above. Cellium has done that in 93.3% of his matches. He's only gone negative in 2 series out of the 30 he's played so far this season. Dashy is second up with 85.2%, Attach, and then Temp actually is the 4th highest. Like, this is interesting because, yes, hashtag free Temp, but still, when you're losing, when he's only won 2 series this season out of, if they played like 20 series or something, like their win record is absolutely terrible, but he's still positive in 80% of them, which probably shows there's a little bit of playing for kills going on in there, but I don't really blame him, honestly, given the Situation, and he's still the best player on that team. Sib and Pred, I think, have impressive numbers here, just because a big talking point about them this season is that, okay, they're not so consistent. Sib and Pred, sometimes they take over, sometimes they don't, which is true, but they're still going positive almost 75% of the time, which probably shows that they're more consistent than maybe some were indicating. Some other players, of course, on here as well. Awakening, Dave Paddy as well. Dave Paddy, 71%, and same with Awakening, thought was kind of funny, just looking at these numbers. But yeah, an interesting index to keep your eyes on as time progresses as well. Let's dive into the OpTic situation then, because no one on OpTic was on that list outside of Dashy, but of course, like, they've been scrimming the last couple of days. Prolute has gone down to the challenger side. He believes his services will no longer be required for the rest of the season. That's far from an absolute guarantee though. iLLeY is back in business. He is scrimming with the team. We heard the details a couple of days ago that Scump believes that he's back in business. Like, they were really feeling good in their first couple of matches in scrims, feeling like they kind of get straight back into form. And of course, the talking point was yesterday that, okay, iLLeY back on a LAN environment, that should help their team, the composure, the kind of leadership, the communication in game. Probably they lacked that, and of course Major 3, and they believe iLLeY can bring that back to the team. Now, whether he's actually 100% ready and good to go, that is a question that certainly OpTic fans will want to know about. He says whatever it takes. But according to Scump here, and I didn't find absolutely every single clip associated to this, but I found a couple of good ones that I'll share for you guys. Scump describes that actually right now they're only playing one set of scrims per day. Usually teams play 2 sets of scrims, maybe even 3 sets of scrims, but right now they're only doing 1 set of scrims, effectively to make sure that iLLeY's sum is all okay as time progresses. But it definitely does raise the concern that if they're not sure that iLLeY can even do 2 sets of scrims right now, like whether his sum is actually all that good. And also I believe he is still in Canada right now, but according to Shotzi, will be heading back to Texas for the qualifiers soon.
I thought you were practicing. We did practice. We played 1 set today. We practiced. Don't worry, man. JLar with the $3. How's Ender doing in practice? Hope you had a good day. I mean, yeah, he's doing good, man. We're just easing back into things, you know, nothing too crazy. I mean, I don't really give a how he's doing. I'm just trying to make sure that he can play, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's #1 priority, is getting him to play. Echo, echo, echo. Is it that bad?
So I don't really think iLLeY playing from Canada is that much of a big deal. I'm sure like he's got the doctor locally or whatever there that he trusts, and like I guess that's his local guy or whatever the case might be, that he's kind of staying there for the time being at home with his parents or whatever the case might be over there. But yeah, playing from Canada, not too much of a big deal. I mean, I'm pretty sure he won the World Championship in 2020 from Canada, right? Given the online era that it was at the time. And I believe he will be back in Texas, at least that is the plan for the start of the Major 4 qualifiers. So like, I get this idea kind of easing iLLeY in a little bit, only playing 1 set of scrims a day. But I would imagine if he has had this procedure and it's been drained or whatever it is and it should be okay now, then you know, why would it get any better over time, if you know what I'm saying? Maybe there is like a little bit of a healing period still to come here, but I mean, still, you're playing 1 set of scrims a day. If he starts to play 2 sets of scrims and it's kind of aggravating him, then what do OpTic do, right? So, difficult situation. I believe that Prolute is either, like, I think he's already gone from Texas as well, so I'm not sure he's there with the team anymore either. So, if they do need Prolute or whatever, they'll have to play online. It could get a little bit messy, but I believe the update is from Shotzi that he will be flying out to Texas for the Major 4 qualifiers, if that, of course, is the case. I'm sure they want to, right, have all the players there in the same setting, get back into business. But yeah, just the idea they're only playing 1 set of scrims a day, it's certainly putting them a little bit behind other teams as well, right? That's another talking point here, is that a lot of other teams got back into scrims. They maybe had a few days off after the Major, and then they were straight back into practice, whereas OpTic took extra time off to make sure iLLeY was back, because they thought, okay, there's no much scrim with Prolute here. Like, iLLeY's got to have his procedure after the Major, then he's going to have about a week off to rest, so they had probably a week and a half or something, and maybe a little bit more than that, of scrims. They've only had the last couple of days back into scrims, and they're only playing 1 set of scrims per day. So, like, they're not practicing as much as the other teams are. That might be a factor, of course, as we go into these upcoming matches. But also must be said that generally, OpTic very good online anyway, right? It's probably about easing him in. As Scump says, I think he's right to say, look, it's about maximizing and making sure that iLLeY actually can play, not pushing him too hard too soon or whatever the case might be. But just the idea that they're doing that maybe indicates that the confidence that everything will be all sunshine and rainbows isn't quite as high as it could have been. But I think it's a sensible decision, all things considered. And as I said, online, they're usually very good anyway. It's when they get to LAN where they need iLLeY back in business, right? So I think easing him in makes a fair bit of sense. Just to look at this real quick, if you guys are unfamiliar, these are the 5 games that OpTic do play here in the Major 4 qualifiers, beginning with Boston and Minnesota on the first weekend. Not incredibly easy games, but not too bad at all. I certainly think their stage starts out easier than most teams does, because I mean, look, Boston, yes, they've got Vivid potentially in the team by then. That could be an improvement. Minnesota, they're pretty good online as well, but then they play Paris, I believe, after that, the 3rd match of the stage, and then in the last 2 matches they play Toronto and just before that, where was the other one? I missed it. Subliners actually as well. So definitely gets harder for them, but yes, and therefore I suppose easing him in makes a fair bit of sense in this instance. Wanted to finish up with a couple of things. Firstly, this here from Doug St. Martin talking about the MP40. MP40 should have the F8 stabilizer to counter the bloom. I believe, is this the attachment that Shotzi had on by accident? And there was all that talk about, okay, well, Shotzi's cheating, breaking GAs, all this type of stuff at the time. And Doug reckons that this attachment should actually be allowed and not GA'd by the pros, because it is allowed, I believe, on the ARs. As RC says, can't believe F8 is allowed on the ARs, but it's not allowed on the SMGs. But then again, in fairness, looking at those kind of accuracy stats a few minutes ago here, the people like, if some of the SMG players are here saying that the SMG is too weak, but then you look at those accuracy stats and actually it's the SMGs that are generally dominating those as opposed to the ARs. Of course, there are other reasons for that, but you might think that there's some indication here that it should be kept as it currently is. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on that one. Just to finish up with this as well, real quick here, there was some talk from Kevin Durant actually that about Call of Duty NBA, especially Call of Duty, potentially wanting to get involved in a team. I believe, as Chrome points out, he has invested in the Anbox parent company, now called NYXL, that effectively owned the subliners back in 2021. But he says he at least follows Call of Duty and is aware of Call of Duty and wants to build a team at some point in the future. So thought that was rather interesting stuff. We got to get expansion into play ASAP. But very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button, tell us on YouTube God, this is a good video. Others like you should see it as well. And I hope grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.
Oh!
Hey, I didn't
Yo!
I believe. Don't worry about it. All good.
Yo! He said he was one shot! He said he was one shot! Yo, he said, no, he said you were one shot. He said you were one shot. No, I'm not taking that.
That was a bad call out.
No.
Hello?
Damn! Yo, Ray, don't look, man.
Look at what?
Dude, I'm on delay. No, that's delay, bro. Bro, no. Delete the VOD, man. He said he was one shot, bro. That's I don't give a man. Why are you laughing?
Because the delay,
man,
bro.
now I'm just breaking. God, bro.
Oh, crying.